More like a population map of the U.S. than there's not a southern skew to either one of them. Now, let me come back to one other thing that's interesting, with all due respect to your age. People, once they become empty nesters, get more interested in history. That's the people who read the history books, who visit the history sites, tend to be 50 to 75. And so if there's the mode in our skew of visitors and members tends to be boomer generation folks. Our members, 52% of our members have graduate degrees. This is not a bunch of rednecks in pickup trucks who are, the great question asked by the little kid of his mother, a good Southern kid, asked her, "Mom, I can't remember, was Robert E. Lee in the Old Testament or the New Testament?" It's not. That's not our constituency. Our constituency tends to be people who are fascinated with American history. Yes, sir.
Can you say a few words about the threats to the museum posed by all the construction in the surrounding area?
Yeah, fabulous question. The White House of the Confederacy is a National Historic Landmark. It was when that program was started, there were 50 named in the country. In Virginia, there were 3: Mount Vernon, Monticello, and the White House of the Confederacy. Let me tell you what protection you get from being a National Historic Landmark. None. Everybody knows the story of major urban hospitals. They've gone on steroids in the past 20 years and exploded in growth. And I don't care if you're talking Providence or Sacramento. The major urban hospitals have just exploded. We happen to be next to one. And in the past 30 years, we've gone from the White House being the tallest structure in the neighborhood to, on 3 sides of it, there are hospital buildings of 12 floors or higher. Okay. Now, when I say on the 3 sides, the newest one, 18 floors high, is only 12 feet from our museum. Okay. As a result, visitors can't get there because you're fighting your way through this maze of hospital buildings to get to the museum. So we've seen our visitation decline by about 50% over the past 15 years. That is when, at the same time, the public interest in the Civil War has gone up. We were talking over dinner tonight about the Ken Burns series. Ever since the Ken Burns series and the aging of the boomer generation, the interest in the Civil War has gone way up. 2 interesting statistics. Since the Civil War ended, on average, there's been 1 book written every day about the Civil War. The only subject that has more books written on it than the American Civil War is Christianity. Those books are coming out at the rate of 3 a day now. If you look at major national organizations, whether it's the Civil War Preservation Trust or reenactors or Civil War roundtables, all those statistics are up, and our visitation is half because of the hospital. So what we've recently announced, we've got this unbelievable collection, and nobody can get to it. And if you view your role as not as a shrine to which people make a pilgrimage, but as a educational institution, people are critical. And so we're going to open a system of museums across the state with potential sites at Fort Monroe, Chancellorsville, and Appomattox, where people are getting to those places because they're easier to get to. And we're going to do that. I laughed in the early discussions with Appomattox. The head of the Park Service there says, "I know you're famous for your flag collection. Appomattox is particularly famous for its surrender process. Do you have any flags in your collection which were surrendered at Appomattox?" And I said, "Yes, we do." He said, "How many?" I said, 59, covering 8 different states. And he says, "How many of them are on display today?" And I said, "None." Oh, by the way, we got another 29 that were captured at Sailor's Creek just a couple of days before Appomattox and only miles away. So we're very bullish on our future.